it's very important that we take care of our bodies and our minds so that we are able to fulfill the mission we have here on earth. So don't ever think that just because you want a house on the beach means that you're a capitalist. Matter of fact, you are fighting against capitalism by making money so that you can give to people who are in need, who aren't able to get the services that um that they desire or that they desperately need.
Welcome back to Impostrix Podcast. My name is Whitney Knox Lee, and I'm your host. This is season 3 of Impostrix Podcast, where we are focusing on validating small business owners of color, entrepreneurs, and folks who unfortunately are navigating employment discrimination in their workplace. Impostrix Podcast always puts folks of color first. So all of our guests are people of color who are sharing about their personal experience or their learned experience. So buckle up, let's go. Welcome back to Impostrix Podcast. My name is Whitney Lee. I am your host. I am here today with Nisheena, and we are going to be talking about all things kind of entrepreneurship and career transition, but also we're going to be talking about setting those big, audacious goals for ourselves so that we got something to work towards and we don't let anything get in our way. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. Welcome to the show, Nisheena.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here, Whitney.
Thank you. Can you share just a little bit about who you are and what you do? What are the identities that you're bringing into this space?
Sure. So my name is Nisheena Clemons. I am a wife. I am a mother. I'm a sister friend. But more importantly, I'm a Christian, and that my Christianity leads my identity. And I'm not one of those Christians who are like so focused on, you know, the religion that I don't show love to my fellow neighbors, that don't show love to my friends and things like that. So I'm learning and growing as I am doing this, doing life, being an entrepreneur, being a wife, being a mother. It has really taught me how to be humble and really taught me the power of community. So that's how I identify myself.
Thank you. Um, I, you're so like here and bubbly and like ready. And I love this. I love this energy. I just got a call or a voice message today from a business coach who was talking about how money is energy and
Hmm.
energy is how it's the unit that we use to attract this
Hmm.
money and to make money and not chase money. And so I'm feeling your energy today. And I definitely appreciate that. As Nisheena and I were getting started, my morning has been a hot mess. And so I'm just glad that I'm talking to somebody that is put together and looks like they know what they're doing in this world, because that is not me right at this moment. So Nisheena, tell us about Phoenix Rise Wellness, because I know that is your business. And it is Black Business Month as we are recording. And I just love hearing about what everybody is up to and how they got there. So, what is Phoenix Rise Wellness?
Sure. So Phoenix Rice Wellness is a coaching and strategy firm that teaches ambitious women how to set and achieve audacious goals so that they can enjoy their lives every day. As a result of what we do, women no longer feel like they have unfulfilled dreams. They don't feel like they have empty ambitions, but they are clear on what their purpose is. They are self aware, knowing who they are and knowing that their unique traits is what is going to help them achieve those big, audacious goals.
Mm. I have been in conversation a lot recently with other new entrepreneurs who are learning, right? Like we're all learning.
Hmm.
Most of us have no background in business and no
Hmm.
background in making money like on our, we receive salaries, and so this
Yeah.
thing about going out there and hustling and all of that, attracting clients, all of that is really new to us. one of the
Mhm.
things that keeps coming up is the investment in ourselves. Um, and so everything from investment with our time and
Mhm.
investment with the professional services that we need, like coaching,
Mhm.
investment in, you know, the actual materials, the product, the physical things that we need for our business. Um, but I'm wondering, because I know you and I spoke before, and we were
Mhm.
talking about clients and getting clients and just kind of navigating that initial first few months, first year, and really feeling our worth, feeling our value,
Mhm.
and telling people what our service is and standing firm with our fees, with our prices.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and so I guess I have a couple of questions because hearing you
Okay.
talk about this, I'm thinking to myself, one, um, it's it's been a journey for me and for others to be comfortable with the investment in a business coach. So let's
Mhm.
start there. Why, like, what is this investment all about? What do you do as a coach? You talked about the goals. You talked about doing the things that you want to do that you're passionate about.
Mhm.
Um, when people come to, why should people come to a coach?
Mhm.
And what is that investment like?
Sure. So there's differences between coaching, consultant, and therapy, right? So they are similar. They're like cousins, but they're not the same. When it comes to coaching, we are those advocates and we are those accountability partners that are going to pull things outside of you that are in you, but you just need some help. You need to talk through it. You need to be asked those thoughtful, provoking questions so that you can pull out of you what is already inside of you. So that's why I love coaching women. That's why I love coaching people in general, because I've been doing this, even though my business is fairly new. I've been doing this for 10 plus years
Mm.
at various organizations that I live, well, kind of live there too, but that I worked with, and being able to have someone take what is already inside of you, right? Like you kind of know your purpose, right? But you're still trying to figure things through. And sometimes those things are dormant in you until people start asking you questions, thoughtful questions, thought provoking questions that pull it out. I remember it was maybe almost 10 years ago. I was working on my resume, and I was part of this team, and there was a guy who was helping people with their resumes on the side. So I met with him, and mind you, we were at a retreat. It was overnight retreat, and I'm not a night person at all. Right. And that was the only time that we were able to connect because they had activities for us to do all throughout the day. So one, I'm tired, but he's asking me, okay, so what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. And then he started asking me those thought provoking questions, such as, okay, so on your last job, you were an office manager. When was a time when the school was a wreck? Because I was an office manager at a school. What was the time when the school was just in complete chaos and you were able to contribute significantly so that the chaos became functional? I don't want to say functional because people live in functional chaos, and that's not what I mean. What I mean is, how did it go from chaotic to organized? So I was able to tell my story, and then through that, he regurgitated what he thought I said. And then from there, I was able to either correct him or affirm what he has said to be true. And then from there, we were able to create this phenomenal resume. And then I saw within myself, like, hey, I'm that girl. Like I did a lot at this organization, and I didn't even realize it. So a coach is that person who is pulling things out of you that you don't even realize that you're doing. So it depends on what type of coach you want, right? So there's business coaches, executive coaches, there's financial coaches, there's mindset coaches. With me, I collaborate with goal setting and with self-care mindset together. So that's my unique niche. But there's a plethora of coaches, and you just have to find a coach that is willing to work with you, not really tell you what to do. They'll give suggestions, but you are your own person. And as we know, if people tell you what to do, like, you ain't my mama, I ain't gonna do that. Or they'll say, "Oh, okay, yeah, that sounds good," and then they never do it. So I think that that investment is really important, because when you when you know that you want to achieve big things, and you're in that in between season, you're in that transitional season, you're in that season where you feel a little stuck, that's when you need the extra push in. For me, if you're not like, for me, if I don't invest in myself, that means I don't believe in myself, right? Because we spend money to things that we deem are important, right? Food, clothes, shelter, activities for our kids, what nails, hair, earrings. So we spend our money where we see importance. And if you don't spend money on yourself, even if you don't have like the total investment for a particular coach, you need to start somewhere. I know when I was going through my transition, I didn't have the funds because I became a single mom. So I started watching a lot of YouTubes from Lisa Nichols, Jim Rohns, players like them. I read a lot of books. I utilized my job to go to a lot of conferences that talked about emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, because it not only helped me in my uh, professional career, it helped me in my personal life as well. So for me, like, if you don't have it, see what your job can offer you and try to work it out that way, right? But if you don't have the means, there's always something that you can do to start it. And then once you begin to implement those ideas and those philosophies, you'll start generating, revenue. You'll start generating skill that you'll be able to either barter um, with someone, or you gain more income, and then you'll be able to invest in yourself.
You said a lot there. One of the things that I want to go back to is this idea of we don't like being told what to do, because I'm one of those people.
Hmm.
I don't want you to tell me what to do. I need you to make it sound like and make me feel like it was my idea.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, um, some of the coaches that I've been working with, I love. So, okay, what I love about coaching are the
Hmm.
questions. I
Yeah.
love that maybe you already know the answer, or you know what you're trying to get me to say, but you're going to ask me a question instead of telling me a thing. And so
Hmm.
I'm going to be working through this question verbally with you or in my mind, and come, hopefully make it around to the position that you want me to be in. And
Hmm.
for me, that's really effective. But I'll also say that we have to be ready for that. I you know it is an investment. It's money, it's time.
Hmm.
If you're going to, spend the money, because obviously you
Yeah.
can watch YouTube and do, there are free resources. Um, and so one of the things that I have needed to navigate is how how committed am I going to be to this?
Hmm.
Um, and for me, that means, how committed am I going to be to starting this business, right?
Hmm.
Um, and I've got several businesses at this point. Somehow this just happened. And so it also means figuring out my priority, and then making investments that are commiserate with the
Hmm.
priority, or investments that are going to help take some stuff off of my plate on one thing that is a priority, but that maybe somebody else can do.
Yeah.
Editing the podcast is a perfect example. I pay Chris at Digital Rim here in Atlanta. He edits my episodes. It's great. And it's an investment, but it takes 20 hours out of, it gives me back 20 hours of my time.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm able to spend that 20 hours on the other businesses that I can't hire people to help me with. Um, and so that's been just really, I'm reading what We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rodgers. And she talks
I
about,
love her.
okay, I didn't know about her before somebody recommended that I read her book. I'm actually kind of annoyed right now at Spotify because I'm listening to it on audiobook and I got Spotify Premium, so like 10 hours a month are free and I'm at my 10 hours. So now I have to wait like 2 more weeks before I can continue reading it. But I've just gotten through the $1 million decisions versus broke ass decisions part of that
Hmm.
book, and I'm just thinking about, um, for people who are in need of support, whether that's personal, professional, whether that's family support, and we see that there is help out there, and maybe that help costs money, and maybe we have the money, but we just don't want to spend the money, or maybe we have the time, but we just don't want to make the time. Um, Getting in the mindset of making $1 million decisions or millionaire decisions, which are the decisions, what I understand, the decisions that are going to make it easier, make my life
Hmm.
easier, or that are
Yes.
like functional decisions. Because I'm one of those people, like, I don't want to pay money for something that I can do. Like, I don't want to do that. Um, but like with getting my podcast edited, I can edit, but it's going to take me 20 hours. So do I
Hmm.
want to have my 20 hours back, or do I want to pay for, or do I want to do the editing myself, which by the way, I hate editing podcasts. Okay? So like this isn't even something that I like doing. So the $1 million decision is going ahead and freeing my space, my energy, my time of this thing that I don't like doing, and using that time to do the things that I do like doing or the other things that need to be done. And this is how like I've been approaching coaching recently, because I'm someone, I stumbled into coaching through work. There was a free benefit for 3 free coaching sessions. I didn't know what coaching was. I didn't know how coaching was going to help me. All I knew was that I had some problems and I needed to talk to somebody about it. But I felt like that person should be like I needed it to be like business related instead of
Yeah.
like my therapist that I'm working on
Yeah.
therapy stuff with. Um, it was amazing. Coaching
Hmm.
say like I don't want to say save my life. It didn't save my life, but it gave me a new perspective, and was incredibly helpful. And from then on out, I'm like, okay, coaches like are valuable, and
Hmm.
consulting is very valuable, if that is a service that I need. So this is all a roundabout to making or recognizing the value in, so one, as consumers, as people that are going to receive these services, recognizing the value in the service that you're receiving, but two, as the service provider, recognizing the value in the service that you are giving, and
Hmm.
having boundaries, with our clients around what the fee is. So, one of the business
Hmm.
coaches that I'm seeing right now, her thing is we don't compete on money, because there's always going to be people who are less expensive than you in terms of the service that you're
Hmm.
providing. And so it's not about the price, like set your price and then make sure that the value is there. So
Yeah.
if you're providing a coaching service, or I'm just going to use myself because I have a service based business, which is I do estate planning for Black people. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
So everybody, not everybody, a lot of people do estate planning.
Hmm.
Estate planning itself is not a unique skill set. But the value in coming to Wills for the People, my business, um, is much more around the relationship that we're building, the trust that
Hmm.
we're building, around the time that I'm giving you as part of my package, around
Yeah.
the, access to me, instead of having to wait a week to receive an email back from me, for example. It's the what's happening before and after our work is complete. It's the
Hmm.
I've given you a roadmap so you know exactly what you're going to be doing each step of the way. And so, how do you convey, and I guess maybe this is for the entrepreneurs that are listening, um,
Hmm.
how do you convey what your value is when you are selling your service, or pitching your service or trying to get a client? You've got clients who are like, I don't think you should be worth this much.
Hmm.
How do you convey? And then what do you do if, like, how do you avoid chasing that money? Because that's where I'm at, is like
Hmm.
avoiding. I don't want to be going after the client that is gonna. I don't even want that client because I don't like the attitude.
Yeah.
And so, like, tell me about, as an entrepreneur who has gone through
Hmm.
this process, is going through this process. A lot of people that are listening to this segment of the podcast maybe starting their businesses themselves, maybe thinking about starting businesses, or maybe in a similar position as me of like, I started a business this year and I am really just trying to figure it out. So, what do you do?
Sure. So it's a lot to unpack, right? In regards to your value, one, you have to know your value before you can tell other people your value. Because if you don't know that you're valuable, then why should other people think that you're valuable? So when it comes to that, um, I encourage my clients to one, write down all the stuff that you did like in your lifetime. I don't care what it is, like things that you've overcome. Like for me, one of the big triumphs that I have is going, I don't want to say going, but thriving as a single mom. That was very hard for me, right? I don't think people plan to be single mothers unless, they make that decision on their own. But most people, they don't plan to be single mothers. And for me, I was distraught because I was living in Georgia, which I currently live now. And I'm originally from New Jersey. And all my support at that time was in New Jersey. So I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm a single mom. I just started this job. Like, it's not even a year in yet. I have to figure out a place to live. I have to navigate all that. And at the time, I would say like a good 8, 9 months, my daughter's biological father wasn't even giving me child support. So I had to navigate through that. And having people tell me that, oh my God, you're glowing. Oh my God, you're doing amazing. And not bullshitting me, but they were really serious. Gave me confidence to keep going. So that was kind of a two for one. Knowing your value, writing it down, writing out all of the things that you've accomplished and overcame and achieved. And two, having people support you that know who you are, what you've done, and not in a yes man or yes woman type of situation, but really like tell you, like, look, like my best friend, she's like, Nisheena, like, I looked at you go through single motherhood. You had to work a job that wasn't particularly supportive. My supervisor, um, you had a shitty baby daddy. Well, he's not shitty anymore. Like we have grown. You have started this business. You were volunteering at church. You was volunteering at your daughter's school. You were doing all the things, and you won child support. You just did everything so gracefully, and then you think like, I did do that, girl. Yes, let me write that down. Thank you for reminding me because you forget. So you have to know your value before you are able to tell other people what your value is. And then letting your clients know. So that's twofold. So that is being authentic, and that is being vulnerable. So you have to share parts of yourself that you may not want to particularly share, yet it's going to encourage someone, right? It's going to let people know that you have the skills, you have the motivation, you have the drive, you have the experience to do whatever it is that you are selling, right? Like for me, I talk a lot about knowing my personality. I talk a lot about, I'm a morning person and this is what I do in the morning because, like I told you before, and what the listeners heard before, I'm not a night person. So me trying to do things at like 9, 10 o'clock, that's not gonna happen, right? But 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, okay, we on the pop, and I may be the only person in the house that's up. I don't know why my daughters got up at like 5 o'clock in the morning earlier this week. I guess because school is starting. And I said, "Y'all okay? Y'all good?" They was like, "Yeah, we watching TV." Okay, cool. Close the door. Deuces. I went on about my business because I had work to do. Sharing that type of information, right? Just letting people know who you are because people don't necessarily buy your services. They do a little bit, but there's goal setting coaches, there's life coaches all over the world. They could go to anyone, but they're coming to you because of who you are. And you have to show, like, I have this experience. This is me being authentic and being vulnerable is what is going to attract people to you. You attract your tribe. And having people just know that you care about them, like you said, some, especially in Atlanta. I love Atlanta and I have like a love hate relationship with Atlanta because a lot of people here are doing the same things that we're doing and more power to them. However, people are they have buyer's remorse because they get this service and the people don't provide the value that's equated to the price that they set. So if you're setting this high ticket service, this premium service, you need to give above and beyond what the value is. So like you said, I'm available between 9 and 7 p.m., right? Any time of the day. I mean, not any time of the day, but any time of the week, right? Um, I am able to respond to you very quickly within 10 hours. I don't know, I'm just making this up, right? I am going to support you. I'm going to hold your hand. I am going to show you love because I exude love in whatever I do. I'm very passionate. That's one of my gifts, one of my traits, and I utilize that in order to not only be a blessing to myself but to others around me. So you know how you said I'm bubbly and bright, you know that's how you get it done, right? Just be able to utilize my personality in order to attract the people. And I don't really believe in a law of attraction ish, but I do believe that what you give is what you get. And if it's not what you want, then you set those boundaries like, look, I really respect that, coming up with objection, excuse me. I'm just letting people know, like, I understand that you may not be able to afford this at this time. Here are some free resources as you are navigating through your transition because you don't want to be those salespeople or those people who are selling their services like, oh, you don't want my stuff, then F you, because that's not my personality. Like, I still want to help you. You can't afford me, and that's okay. Um, but I don't want to leave you hanging either because I know you need something. So with me, I had a client who didn't want to pay me my fee. And at first, I negotiated with her, and we set a price. At first, I wasn't happy that I did that. Yet, in hindsight, it was a learning lesson to me that if they don't want to pay the fee, and the reason it was her reasoning. It wasn't so much that she didn't have the budget because sometimes your fee and their budget don't match, but because you connect with them so much, you're like, you know what? I really like your vibe. I really want to help you. I agree to your budget, even though this is not my fee, right? And that's okay. I think because she said, well, you're just starting out. And I had to, I accepted it, whatever. And then I had to think back, like, I'm not just starting out. Like, this business is new, but what I do and what I've done coaching has been for 10 plus years at various organizations. And you can ask anybody who has worked with me. that I'm very committed to what I do. I'm very committed to helping people. I'm very committed to solving problems. So that, knowing that now, I probably wouldn't have taken her on as a client. But there are clients, if I really, if I want to, and you have to know that too. Sometimes if you want to do it, if you want to agree to their budget, that's up to you. You don't have to do it because you'll be blessed with people who see the value in you, and you shouldn't have to beg and plead and baby, baby, please
Right.
to get in clients, right? You're the bomb. You did all this stuff. You got paid X amount of money to provide a service to your organization. So there in and of itself that you have the skill set to be able to perform these services, right? And now it's just you're doing it on your own. And people have to remember that, my services isn't I'm making so my service package is $2,750, right? That doesn't mean that that's going in my pockets. Like I'm still a small business and half of that's going to, you know, Uncle Sam. And part of that is going through running my business, So like people don't understand that. And you don't have to tell them all your business unless you want to. My husband sometimes tells me I'm very, too transparent. But that's my personality and I'm leveraging that. And I attract the people who like that. So long story short, know your value, be around people who are going to remind you of your value, write down what you have done in the past, be firm in your prices. In certain scenarios, you might want to agree to honor their budget, even though that's not, your fee, and be able to, when you're drawing up a contract, write your fee down and then cross it out. I got that from Lisa Nichols, love her. Write your fee down and say, my fee is $2,750. However, I'm not waiving, but I am giving you a discount of blah, and you are paying blah.
Mm.
So
So that they know
that
how
because
much your service is worth.
girl, yes, and I said, oh, woo,
Mm-hmm.
yes, yes, Lisa Nichols, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So just making sure that they know your value. So when they get more money, when you give them the skills that they need to generate more income, when they come back to you, or when they tell other people, they're like, okay, her services cost this amount of money, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, okay. So much of what you said is stuff that I have personally experienced, personally gone through. I mean, I'm thinking about um knowing your value. And I'm thinking about I was in a wills seminar. I was given a wills seminar with a bunch of other attorneys. All these other
Mhm.
attorneys, half of them have been practicing longer than I've been alive. Okay.
Mm.
And others are just like big names in estate planning. And so
Mhm.
I'm up on this webinar and I'm giving my stuff, but evidently I'm saying things that make the organizer feel like, okay, she's not confident in herself right now. So she calls me or she asks if I'm open to feedback, which be open to feedback.
Mhm.
Don't take it personally if you want to, but like be open to feedback. Um, and she was like, Whitney, the people that are going to come for your business are the people that want you. And so you don't have to compare yourself to the people that have been practicing longer than you've been alive because they're not the ones that are showing up with their tattoos showing. They're not showing up with the language that you use. They're not showing up with the bright orange glasses. They're not showing up with your personality. So, like, if somebody's going to be attracted to that person, they're not going to be attracted to you. Like, this different, and it's going to be different based on your experience. Like, one person might think, oh, for myself, I would like to work with this estate planning attorney, but I know my mom and my mom needs one, and my mom would prefer to work with this person. Okay. So, my point being, like you said, you weren't new. You weren't starting out. You've been doing this for 10 years. Girl, me too. I've been doing this for 10 dang years. Why am I over here with this
Mm-hmm.
new person mentality around estate planning? I know about estate planning, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
knowing our value, knowing our experience, knowing what we bring to the table, knowing how we are unique, um, and leveraging all of those things and being creative, or not even necessarily creative. So I think for me, being like a salaried worker, I am so set in what is valuable experience and what is not valuable experience. And so it's not about being creative, it's about breaking that like story that we are told when we work for somebody else
Mm-hmm.
about what we're doing is valuable,
Yeah.
because now we are our own bosses and we decide what's valuable, and see if that hits or not with our client, with the people that we want to serve.
Yeah.
um, and so I think that's really invaluable information that you're sharing, an experience that you're sharing. um, and all of this is reminding me of imposter experiences, because I think to some extent, like when I was on that panel, for example, that's what I was feeling unsure of myself, because I was comparing myself to these other people
Mm-hmm.
and feeling like, well, why would they come to me when they could, like, why would a potential client come to me or listen to me even when there's all these other people on this panel that they could be listening to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but what you said about knowing your value and about, I love the tool of writing down all the things that you done did. What? You were a single mother? First of all, if anybody listening to this show is a caretaker of a child, of a person, doesn't even have to be a child,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you do it. I do not know. I got a friend right now. She's probably going to listen to this in like a couple of months. She got two little kids. Her husband
Mm-hmm.
is on a business trip for 3 weeks. For me, that's an eternity. If my
Mm-hmm.
husband was gone, my co-parent was gone for 3 weeks, and I got these two little children running around doing all the things for 3 weeks, and
Mm-hmm.
you did it for like an actual lifetime, for like like I don't know how that is possible. And so yeah, like bringing in our personal lives to the list of the amazing things that we do is the other thing that
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing. It's not just about what my previous employer said I was good at,
Mm-hmm.
or what my previous employer was willing to pay me to do as part of my
Mm-hmm.
job. But what am I bringing to the community that I'm in? What am I bringing to my family? What am I bringing to my friends? How have I stood up and supported my friends and responded when they needed some encouragement, and responded when they needed help? What
Mm-hmm.
kind of friend am I? What kind of family member am I? All of these
Mm-hmm.
things are going to show us the various characteristics of ourselves, the various strengths that we have, the various unique perspectives that we have. And all of these things are perspectives that we can leverage as we are um, building our businesses and attracting
Mm-hmm.
clients, attracting leads, and making those connections.
Of course, definitely. Like I feel as though a lot of people they know who they are, but they don't know who they are. And you have to get to the root of who you are, not in your roles, right? Not as a lawyer or a business coach, not as mom, not as wife, not as co-parent. You need to know who you are, Whitney. You need to know who you are, Nisheena. And then from there, just knowing what your strengths are, knowing what makes you you. What is your sauce? Like for me, I'm very passionate. I'm very, very passionate. And I don't do things half ass. I'm either all in or I'm all out. And if I'm not in it, that means I don't want to do it. And if I am in it, either, I'm so committed to what um the mission is, or what the vision is, that even days that I don't feel like doing it, I'm still going to do it because I'm committed to what this vision is, or what the mission is. So I think that when you utilize your personalities, when you utilize your strengths, knowing what your soft is and how you can show up to the world, you could achieve anything. You are unstoppable.
Mm.
So I really believe that, with imposter syndrome, it bubbles up, especially with women of color, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because once uh, Kamala Harris announced that, she was going to be the Democratic nominee for, well, she hasn't accepted yet, but we know she's going to accept, right? Um, it was so many people being bashing her, right? And in essence, bashing Black women, even though she's not fully Black. She identifies as an Asian American woman as well. But in any sense, woman of color, um, imposter symptoms rises up more in us, but we have to know, one, generally speaking, we contribute more to society than anyone, right?
Mm.
Because we were the first
Mm.
ones, and this is for Black people, Black women specifically. We were the first ones that raised $1 million for Kamala Harris. Like, it wasn't even 24 hours
Mm-hmm.
before President Joe Biden announced that he wasn't running for re-election, and Black women was like, "Bet, we know it's gonna be Kamala." He endorsed her. Let's raise this money. Wasn't even 24 hours. We raised $1 million in what, 3 hours or so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
So,
Joe Biden and everybody else, you're not gonna pass her up for this opportunity.
mm-hmm,
That's how
exactly.
serious we are. We're so serious that we're gonna give $1 million literally right this second.
Right now, like right now. So we have to understand, and we work twice as hard, if not more, to show that we are capable. So when imposter syndrome rises, I know for me personally, I start listening to motivational speakers.
Mm.
I call my friends to help me. Like, you talked about Rachel Rogers. Girl, I know the people on the listening to the audio won't be able to see this, but I went to her $1 million action tour, and when I tell you, like,
You're a fangirl. Yeah, I
I'm a
wish y'all could see
fangirl.
this.
I paid extra money to go in VIP, and who she presents herself to be is who she is, and that made me love her even more, because she's really about marginalized community becoming millionaires, because we have a lot to contribute. Like, for you and I, it's very important that we are successful in our businesses, not because we want to make money, not because we're millionaires, but because we are able to support candidates like Kamala Harris. We're
Mm.
able to give back to our communities. We're able to support our girls and young ladies who are fighting against a system that doesn't want to prioritize them. So it's very important for us to be successful in our businesses. And with imposter syndrome, that's just the enemy telling you a lie so that you don't fulfill the purpose that God has for you. So when that happens, you better go on YouTube, listen to Rachel Rogers, listen to Lisa Nichols, listen to Jim Rohn, listen to other motivational speakers. What's his name? He yells a lot, so I don't really listen to him as much, but I used to. But I needed that extra push. What is his name? I can't think of it, but he's that. If you want something as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. I can't remember his name. It's on
Ooh.
the tip of my tongue.
Whew.
Oh, I'm so mad. I can't remember his name.
Well, because while you're thinking about his name, like the thing
Girl,
that
yes.
is coming up for me right now, I am someone, and Rachel Rogers talks about this. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I guess I have, ooh, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud publicly, a little bit of guilt or shame in wanting to be a millionaire and
Mm.
in wanting to have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
for me, that notion is it feels against my value system for some reason.
Mm.
It feels Well, not for okay, I'll tell you why, because I don't love capitalism. I am anti-capitalism. I don't like, capitalism was built on us for other people. It was not built for me. And so I don't want to use capitalism as a tool to, I don't achieve whatever it is that I want to achieve.
Mhm,
And I have to operate within capitalism because
mhm,
I'm a Black American woman in the United States of America with a whole family, and I can't not have income. But the other thing is, so I've always kind of been this, I work for nonprofits. I don't need to make a lot of money. I'm all about helping people, blah, 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 blah. All of that is good, right? But also, I want to live on a house, in a house on a beach.
mhm,
For me, that's non negotiable.
mhm.
It's a dream that I have. And I guess I thought I could do that on a nonprofit salary. I don't know whose beach I'm living on in a nonprofit salary. I don't know in
You can live.
whose little shoebox house. I don't know where my kids and my husband gonna be, because I'm gonna be sleeping in the one room that also has the kitchen and the bathroom
Yup.
and you know? So, like, for me, it's coming to terms with that I have goals and dreams that have really not anything to do with the service that I want to provide to people. They have nothing to do with my altruism. They have nothing to do with that I want to help people and that I want Black liberation. They just have to do with, no, I just actually want to live on the beach. Like,
Mhm,
I want Black liberation and I want to live on a beach.
mhm,
Um, and so what Rachel Rodgers talks about is that I had never thought about was just coming to term like naming these things, naming that it makes me feel very uncomfortable to
mhm,
think and talk about that I want to be wealthy. That it makes me very uncomfortable and unsure to think and talk about how do I become wealthy ethically,
mhm,
because there's not a roadmap. The discourse around making money is that of making money on other people's backs, making money by
yeah,
pulling one over on somebody, get
mhm,
rich quick schemes, and all this other type of stuff. And that is not what I want to do. Um, so I can't remember why I brought this up. What about what you just said made me think of this? But I do think that for me, oh, it was giving away free. I know exactly what it was. You were talking about Black women in particular need to be successful in our businesses because we need to be able to help fund these social political movements. And that
mhm,
my business coach right now is really working with us on, don't give away your stuff for free. You can't
mhm,
afford to give away your stuff for free right now. Your business
mhm,
needs to be successful in exactly what you said. Your business needs to be successful so that you can put money into the thing. So that you can still put your time. You once you're
mhm,
making money down the line, you can give free services, but right now, you're not making that kind of money. And
mhm,
so you need to be successful because our dollars are what are going to inform and energize um, politics and social whatever's legislation, all the stuff for the next generation.
mhm,
And it's that dire. So, like, now there's this extra element for me of what wealth means. It's not just about me in my beach house that I'm going to have, but it's also about me being able to contribute in the ways that I feel called to contribute without necessarily being the one protesting, risking being
mhm,
arrested on the streets, or without I was a civil rights attorney, without pulling the all-nighters, preparing for cases, going in and out of jails and prisons, and experiencing, secondary trauma because of what I'm seeing and hearing and all that stuff. So
mhm.
it's really important, I think, for those of us to have these kinds of moments where we are really reflecting on what our value is around money and wealth
Yeah.
and service. because I've always thought that they were mutually exclusive, and they're not.
Hmm. For sure. One, the name of the man is Eric Thomas. So,
Okay,
in
Eric
case
Thomas.
anyone is listening, Eric Thomas is really, really good too. Um, Two, I think that people think it needs to be either or instead of both and. What drew me to you was that you were very, like, your website is very colorful, your logo's colorful, and you're really about the further movement of people of color. And I really admire that. I respect that. I'm one of those people as well. I think that society has taught us, and we have taken on that, okay, I don't want to be rich equates to capitalism. And that's not true, right? Because we are doing our businesses ethnically, right? We are making sure that we are collaborating with people instead of stepping on people's toes, instead of talking bad about people. We're making sure that we are prioritizing um, the value that we give to people. So if we set a price, we are giving you much more value than what the price is, right? We're just not going to pull one over on you. We're not going to make you pay all this money and not provide the services that we said and then some, right? And we also have to remember that self care is very important. We are doing the work that a lot of people don't want to do. And self care for you is the beach, right? It's for me too. So I'm going on vacation
Yes.
in a month,
Yes.
and visiting my friend who lives near Tampa. And I told her, like, hey, girl, I want to come visit you and I want to go to the beach. Like, that's it. Atlanta doesn't have beaches, unfortunately. um, that's one of the cons of living in Atlanta. It
It
doesn't have
sure
a beach,
is.
and
Yep.
the closest beach is like 3-4 hours away. So self care is very important to you because of the work and the commitment that you have for your mission in life. You need self care. So living on the beach is vital for you to function optimally, to be able to produce the things that need to be done so that people are not suffering, right? I
Mm,
always believe that and I heard this on Instagram, you only have one body, right? You only have one mind, and if the body's not there, the mind's not there, you're not living. So you need to make sure that you practice self-care and you take care of yourself, holistic wellness, so that you can do the things that you are called to do so that people don't suffer. Majority of the times our mission in life, well, I'm not going to say majority, our mission in life, each person, whether or not they fulfill that mission or not, each person, in my opinion, each person is here on this earth to fulfill a mission that involves helping other people,
mm,
regardless of what it is. So for you and me, we want to help marginalized communities excel in which, whatever field. For me, is through goal setting and self care. For you, it's through, having people be able to listen to podcasts and be able to do estate planning well, because we already know for Black people who
mm,
don't do
mm,
that,
mm.
it's a shit show.
Mhm.
Right? Because I inadvertently experienced that through my husband's aunt's passing, and thankfully she had made the list. She had a will. She had all the things together. She had all of her passwords to her bank statements, to her emails, everything all in check, so that it was easy for the process to um to start and to be finished, right? And unfortunately, a lot of Black people don't do that. So it's very important that you do that so that the people who are still here on this earth don't have to suffer, right?
Mhm.
So it's very important that we take care of our bodies and our minds so that we are able to fulfill the mission we have here on earth. So don't ever think that just because you want a house on the beach means that you're a capitalist. Matter of fact, you are fighting against capitalism by making money so that you can give to people who are in need, who aren't able to get the services that um that they desire or that they desperately need.
Mm. That's a word, and we're gonna end on that. because I don't want us to lose track of what she just said. Y'all heard her. Y'all heard Nisheena. All right. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Can you share with us where folks can find you? How can we access you and your services?
Sure. So you can find me on phoenixrisewellness.com. Phoenix is PhoenixRisewellness.com. Reason why I said that is because, like me, before I had the name of this company, I spelled Phoenix wrong.
Look,
So it
look.
is O before E.
Right. I was trying to email Nisheena and could not get through to her because I was spelling Phoenix wrong. So yeah, spell it right if you want to find me.
Yes. So my website, phoenixrisewellness.com. And I plan on investing money in myself to update my website. And additionally, I have social media. The three platforms that I am most visible on is LinkedIn. uh, you know, Search Phoenix Rise Wellness, and a picture of a bird that has navy blue, lime green, and fuchsia will pop up, and that's me. You can also see me on Instagram, most active on there, and on Facebook as well. And if ever you want to see what I'm doing personally, I typically post about my everyday life. But if you want to see my page, my name is Nisheena Clemons. You could put that in Facebook because my Instagram is locked and I don't really post on Instagram like on my personal page. But you can see my Facebook page. It's pretty open. So, and that's Nisheena, Nisheena Clemons, Clemons.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nisheena, for this conversation. This was great. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, Whitney. And I have a surprise for you since you said that you waiting on that free trial. I'm gonna do it, once we're done recording. I'm gonna make sure that I send you the Audible book of We Should All Be Millionaires, because we ain't waiting till next month for you to
Y'all heard
listen to the
it.
rest of
And
the
shoot,
book.
I ain't even, this is going to end at, look, this is the post episode. Welcome to the post episode of Imposterix Podcast. Y'all heard it. She gonna hook me up. I appreciate that. Thank you, because
Yes.
I'm real mad at Spotify right now.
Yeah, I have Spotify too. I love them, but yeah, we're not doing that. Like I see the passion that you have behind wanting to help people, wanting to help marginalized communities, and I love Rachel Rogers. So we not gonna wait until a month from now for you to finish that book.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to Imposterix Podcast. I appreciate your support and that you continue to listen week after week after week. I've got some exciting news, which is that you can now listen and support Imposterix Podcast on the Alive Podcast Network app. You will find ad-free listening to nearly 100 other Black-hosted podcasts, in addition to Imposterix Podcast, and you'll be able to support those podcasts and really kind of get into your groove with that app. I hope that you will join me over there. I appreciate your support. To connect with me, feel free to join me on Instagram at Imposterix Podcast. You can also join me on Facebook in our validating space. Just search for Imposterix Podcast. All right, until next time, be validated.